Good evening, everyone, whenever you are at 6 p.m., 26 August 2025. Let's get right to it. It's kind of a slow news. After yesterday, I don't know if you guys watched yesterday's episode when I talked about here, where I'm at, like literally locally, we had helicopters flying for 4 hours, SWAT, K9 units, the entire PD department of 2 cities and counties, sheriffs, and no one has a clue what happened. The local news literally goes, it looks like everything's back in, and the negotiators were able to get the guy off the pontoon boat, and now to weather. Literally, we got locked down for 5 hours in this area. Nobody. That's all you got. So today was a boring day in a sense. All right. So Trump proposes renaming the DOD from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which was its original name in a sense. I mean, you look back at the early founding, it was literally called the Department of War. So, people were making a big deal of that. It's like, going back to the roots. The Times, why the tech gods of Silicon Valley have turned to Christianity. Peter Thiel is among the tycoons touting their faith and messianic attitude, while building superintelligence has prompted deep philosophical questions. I don't know if you guys know this. I shared it the other day, but he's doing a 3-part lecture series on the Antichrist. You've probably seen the video he did about a month or so ago, when the guy about a month ago, when the guy asked him, said, "Do you think humans should continue to exist?" And he kind of hesitated, and the guy was like, "Wait, whoa! Talking about you hesitating." He is autistic. He's also one of the most dangerous guys out there. He's also runs pretty much the White House right now. So it's kind of a conundrum. He owns the J.D. Vance, who everyone says will be the next elected monarch in D.C. So he'll be in the White House for a good part of the decade. Massive dust storm slams Phoenix, causing damage, airport delays, and power outages. This, as you can see, a Habub's wall of dust coming from a distance, but by the time it reaches you, it's too late to seek shelter, especially if you're behind the wheel of a vehicle. Yeah, some of the images was amazing about what was going on. Only time I've seen anything close to that, I was in Colorado Springs, dropping somebody off Uber. Yeah, I drove off somebody all the way up to Montana from South Denver once, quite a few times. So yeah, you can drive far distances. But there was one time Colorado Springs, there was a wall of clouds. It was cool as anything. It was literally a cloud just sitting there. And I was like, I can't wait to turn into this. Definitely wasn't a dust ball. Scientists have created a new life form. Nature can make things a little messy, but humans often strive for perfection. And in this desire, researchers have created a strain of bacteria whose genetic code is more efficient than any other life form on Earth. Its name is Sin57, but what is it exactly? And it goes through a little bit. And if you go again, everything's in the show notes already underneath. If you want to click on this to look through more of it, go for it. Zelensky, the comedian turned dictator in Ukraine, boasts he no longer needs U.S. permission for long-range missile strikes on Russia. I know everyone's probably thinking right now, what happened in Alaska? Well, it's just kind of like a lot of talk that went on. Nothing has changed. People are still shooting each other out there. Weapons are still getting sold to them, and we're still part of the deal. Not drinking enough water, your stress hormones may go into overdrive. And that's just common sense. You need water to drink. Adults who drink very little fluid, less than 1.3 liters, had about 55% greater cortisol reactivity during a lab stress test compared to high drinkers, 4.4 liters. Heart rate and anxiety felt the same in both groups, but their hormonal stress levels behave differently. Urine color provided a simple indicator, duh. And finding studies that habitual low fluid intake may amplify the body's stress response, possibly helping explain why poor hydration has been tied to health risk over time. And I guess they paid a couple $1 billion for a water is wet, literally water is wet study. I'm just kind of scanning through to see if they do say anything about the money on this. Know how much this costs to find common sense in a test. So anyway, drink water, obviously. VW introduces monthly subscription to increase car power. File this under the "You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy" file. German car making giant Volkswagen, VW for short, has introduced a subscription for UK customers wanting to increase the power of some of its electric cars. It's electric boogie woogie woo. Those who buy an eligible car in its ID.3 range can choose to pay extra if they want to unlock the full power of the engine inside the vehicle. Unlock the full power of this battery, baby. You'll get to 0 to 60 in 10 minutes. VW says the optional power upgrade will cost 16 pounds 50 cents, 16.5 pounds per month, or 167 pounds annually, or people can choose to pay 649 pounds for a lifetime subscription. The firm said it was offering customers choice with the feature. Auto Express, who's reported the story, said a lifetime subscription would be for the car rather than the individual, meaning the upgrade would remain on the car if it was sold on. The VW spokesperson told the BBC they believe giving people the option to purchase more power for their car is nothing new, because if you don't, you're going to get a golf cart. Nothing new. But yes, you own nothing and be happy. Subscription model for cars. In top news of the day, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are now engaged. God bless America. It has happened. Everyone is now happy. Birds are chirping louder. Froggies are croaking louder. I don't know what else can be said about that. The clouds are whiter. I don't know. Taylor and Travis have, well, I guess Taylor asked the question, maybe. I don't know. And President and future King DJ Trump was asked the question if he heard about the engagement. And Trump says he did not. He also said that Kelsey's a great football player, and that Tay, I think she's a terrific person. I guess we can quit now, right? Why more farmers are turning to AI machines? As worker shortages persist on American farms, some are turning to novel solutions. Anybody shocked that this is happening? Do that. They use the excuse to get rid of the workers on the field. They brought in AI. Anybody that has been watching anything but regular news probably already saw this coming. It comes with the UBI. We got UBI info coming up shortly. U.S. launches multiple airstrikes during 2-week campaign against ISIS affiliate in Somalia. U.S. has also launched another attack against Al-Shabaab, and it's conducted at least 60 airstrikes in Somalia so far this year. So this is written by Dave Deschamps. By the way, say a prayer for him. He's expecting his first. Him and his wife are expecting her first baby today. I think it was today. And regular antiwars.com. Trump breaks record for U.S. airstrikes in Somalia. Hey, record holder. He's now the new record holder. The President of Peace, the Nobel Peace Prize, sign him up. Somebody nominate him for the Peace Prize. Record breaker at U.S. airstrikes. Do they say that if he wins the Nobel Peace Prize, will they bring it up? And Grant and the world record holder for bombing Somalia is Americans now more sympathetic to Palestinians. IDF double tap strike on hospital kills journalists. If you saw the video, you see these guys that just got the hospital got bombed. And these guys are up there trying to help out and reporting on it. And then you see another explosion. They're been killing journalists left and right. And funny that regular journalists over here haven't said a word. Syria slams latest Israeli incursion. Zelensky wants $1 billion per month for U.S. arms. I asked for $1 per month for people, and I get blasted. This guy wants $1 billion. Israel offers to support Hezbollah disarmament. Trump wants to bring back the Department of War. Trump hopes to meet with North Korean leader. Anything else in here? MSM North America to build advanced ammo factory in Iowa. Navy awards Pratt $2.9 billion contract to build more F-35 engines. Cobalt becomes priority at U.S. military. Expands national stockpile. Workers shot and killed abroad. Brand new U.S. Navy destroyer in Mississippi. Let's see. Sweden in the news. So force had fighters to Thailand. You didn't see that coming, Who had that on the board? Rest of Sudan's army. Ex-general sparks legal questions. Nigerian Air Force pushes back on jihadists and Cameroonian border. Isn't that what the Tears of the Sun, wasn't that what that based on? Cowboy Up. Anyway, again, check it out. It's on your show notes here. Here's the Dave Chappelle. I repeat, the U.S. has launched 68 airstrikes in Somalia this year. Trump has shattered the annual record for U.S. airstrikes in Somalia. Shattered. It's like putting a guy to play in a women's basketball or weightlifting competition. He shattered the record. AFRICOM told me this morning that it launched 9 airstrikes in an operation against Somalia's ISIS affiliate, bringing the total number of airstrikes in Somalia this year to 68. The previous record was 63. Smashed it, and it's still going. We got plenty of time. We're only in August. Give it time. He might double that. First human case of flesh-eating screwworm detected in sanctuary state of Maryland. We talked about this a couple of days last week. Last week they talked about Texas, about the screwworm with cows. U.S. Department of Human and Health and Human Services reported the first human case of travel-associated New World screwworm in Maryland after a patient returned from El Salvador. Maybe he was in the prison, according to Reuters, citing HHS spokesman Andrew Nixon. Details of the patient's immigration status were not released, though it is worth noting that Maryland is a far-left Democratic Party stronghold and a sanctuary state. You got to be kidding me. I was just kidding about that. Maybe he was at the prison, and maybe he was. Something north of Central. Well, okay. Anyway, it's in the show notes again if you want to take a look. Trump threatens tariffs for nations with digital taxes on U.S. tech. President, once a future king, President DJT on August 25th, threatening to restrict the export of U.S. advanced technologies like chips and brain chips and impose additional tariffs on countries that refuse to eliminate digital regulations discriminated against U.S. tech companies. Is Elon upset? U.S. bars China, Russia, and Iran from undersea cable supply chains. The U.S. government is overhauling under the sea. Sorry, my mind just works that way. I got the lobster singing in my head right now. Rules for the first time since 2001, tightening restrictions to keep companies linked to adversaries such as China, Russia, and Iran out of the supply chain, according to Nikkei Asia. The FCC just went for me. Where else can you go get Catholic news reporting? The Little Mermaid singing and Eminem at the same time. Approved proposed rules that bar adversary-based firms from working on U.S.-owned under-the-sea cables or supplying related equipment. Approved companies will need cybersecurity plans and must certify their supply chains are free of such entities. To encourage investment, the FCC won't bother me. We'll streamline approvals for U.S. firms and partners from Japan and Europe, cutting the typical 2-year process. Reapproval will be required every 25 years instead of every 3, as originally proposed. YouTube hit 6 consecutive months as top TV distributor, though a streamer once again leads Nielsen's monthly rankings of media companies by share of viewing. YouTube has now spent half a year as the leading company in share of TV viewing in these United States, and its lead grew in July. The streamer had 13.4% of all TV use for the month, According to Nelson's media distributor gauge for the July period, which covered June 30th, July 27th, it held a 4-point lead over second place Disney, 9.4%, up from 2.8%, 2 percentage points, 12.8% for YouTube, 10% for Disney in June. Obviously, I had no clue this was even being talked about. Fox channels could become unavailable on YouTube TV over payment dispute. That might affect the 2-point lead over Disney. Fox said it was disappointed that Google continually exploits its outsized influence by proposing terms that are out of step with the marketplace. Like everyone, U.S. fighters intercept Russian aircraft off Alaska 3 times a week, says NORAD. U.S. fighter jets were scrambled for a third time in less than a week on August 24th to intercept the Russian military planes flying near Alaska, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, said in a statement. And you didn't know NORAD does more than just watch where Santa's flying. On Sunday evening, NORAD confirmed that it detected and tracked a Russian IL-20 Kut surveillance aircraft that was operating within the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ if you're nasty. In response, NORAD scrambled E3, 2 F-16s, and 2 KC-35s, led by Maverick and Goose's kid. Sorry. What's it, Goose's kid? Duck? No, it wasn't Ducky. Anyways, moving on. Killed the joke. The CDC quietly scaled back a surveillance program for foodborne illnesses. As of July 1st, a critical surveillance program is monitoring for only 2 pathogens instead of the usual 8. CDC shouldn't even exist. Donald Trump's big gay government. All I could think was Big Gay Al when I've read this one. On a town with the A gays of Washington, who have never been happier to be out, proud, and Republican. It was last Wednesday of July, and many of Washington's top players were hanging out at the Ned, a private club around the corner from the White House. Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan, was waiting for an elevator in the lobby when he bumped into Dr. Oz, a surgeon turned daytime TV star now in charge of Medicare and Medicaid. By the way, when people say, hey, we don't like being socialists, we're not socialists, Medicare and Medicaid are socialist medicine. Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, terrible guy, was bouncing around the library bar upstairs, and Scott Bissett, the Soros gay guy with 2 kids, Secretary of the Treasury, was wandering around up there too. Sitting in a brown leather armchair in the center of this social whirl was a high-ranking official of the Department of Energy named Charles Moran. His obtruse-sounding little is a Associate Administrator for External Affairs for the National Nuclear Security Administration. Blah, 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 blah. These are the A-gays. They're mostly out. They're proud to work for President Trump. I had no idea, but it makes sense that Lutnick is gay. I did not know. And they have big jobs inside or alongside the administration. They wield influence all over town, from the Pentagon to the State Department to the White House to the Kennedy Center. We're like Visa, Mr. Moran said. Everywhere you want to be. Doesn't that make you feel special? Most powerful out gay men in the Trump administration, Mr. Bissett. Yep. Again, he's a Soros guy, but we like him because he's a MAGA guy. He's literally Pete Buttigieg, but people don't like Buttigieg because he had a D next to his name. People like Bissett, who's exactly the same guy except worse because he's got MAGA. You can see. Maybe Lutnick wasn't it. I could have. I have to check that out. I thought they were going to bring more of the Lutnick thing on there. I wouldn't be shocked that Peter Thiel was one as well. All right. To dream the impossible dream of being a normal gay like Richard Grenell, everyone's favorite normal gay, Richard Grenell, is insistent that you know that he is a normal gay. He explained to Politico over the weekend the benefits of being a normal gay like he is, and that the perception of such a thing as a normal gay should be preserved in a time capsule labeled delusions of assimilation in the year 2025. In the vomit-inducing interview, he reminisces about Melania Trump's generosity, rails against cancer culture, and assures that being Grinnell isn't the first conservative man tied to DJT to use the term normal gay. JD Vance got there first by crowing to Joe Rogan that Trump is, quote, the most normal gay guy vote candidate, as if the LGBTQRS plus electorate is just one massive club that only recently discovered voter registration and that appreciates all of Trump's efforts to erase us. Go MAGA. Burning Man orgy dome completely destroyed by winds. Watch devastation as poles collapse on couches. They had I think, was there something last year that went down with this thing too? Maybe it's a moment that these people shouldn't be going there anyways in the first place. More home buyers are pushing for sleepovers before buying property. Try it before you buy it. In other news, U.S. home prices plunged for the fourth straight month in June. It's going to keep on going too. The gun-toting Christian who could help Democrats win over Trump voters, rising star party, is spooking Republicans in ruby red state of Iowa. Rob Sand is a gun-toting Christian from rural Iowa who goes deer hunting, drives a white Ford F-150 pick 'em up truck, and opens speeches by quoting the Bible, baby. He is also a rising Democratic star whose run for governor is spooking Republicans in the ruby red state of Iowa. Father of 243 and the only Democrat that currently holds statewide office in Iowa and could hold the recipe for winning over voters in pro-Trump states. Kicks off his events by asking attendees to sing verses of America the Beautiful, and he is not afraid of espousing opinions Democrats have tied themselves in knots over. For example, he does not believe people born male should compete in women's sports. At least have some maybe common sense. Anyway, if you're in Iowa, I don't care either way, it's your problem. Mystery grows after dozens of piles of cremated human remains are found just outside of Las Vegas. Officials confirmed the piles found were human cremated remains. They were found alongside U.S. Route 95, which links Reno to Las Vegas on Monday. In sports, Arch Manning is the biggest college football player prospect ever. Finally, he's getting the keys. So I guess he's getting the start finally. The student debt racket, this is from Mises, gets into a little bit of why and how it came up and the problems that are facing with the student debt crisis, and even talks about the taxpayer ends up having to pay for some of this as well. And it's a cluster, you know what? Subsidies here, subsidies there. The government got involved and raised all the prices and made things completely terrible for everybody. The first arrest by burning a flag. This guy was arrested for burning an American flag outside the White House. It says didn't take long, and they can't help themselves. And he was just saying that, hey, it's my right to burn it. Who knows if we went down to Walmart to buy a flag that was made in China and burnt it on the property, so they arrested him. Whoop, hit the wrong button. This was in Denver. Denver 7 spoke of two sources in the dairy industry who confirmed details about the accidental deaths of 6 workers at Prospect Valley Dairy in Kingsburg earlier this week. They might have released toxic gas, an incident that killed 6. What climate crisis? Weather Channel reports record-breaking cold for August. It must be extraordinarily difficult for leftist corporate media outlets and woke government weather forecasts to admit record-breaking cold temperatures or unseasonably cold air across parts of the lower 48 in August of all months. August, the prime season where far-left climate NGOs and their political allies, amplified by their MSN propaganda megaphone, usually try to convince everyone on the alleged climate crisis, because usually it's hot. This year, right now it's 78 outside, low 80s. Here, and usually it's about 90. And I think Thursday it might be 81, 79-ish, 79, 81, with mid 50s at night. That never happened. August, that doesn't happen here. Stolen car suspect stops to pump gas mid police chase in LA. Well, when you're running out of gas, you got to think quickly on your feet. A man in a reportedly stolen blue Infiniti led police on a 100-mile-an-hour chase Friday, stopping mid-pursuit to pump gas, KABC reported. Speaking of which, they keep telling us about how much gas is cheaper. We just passed the gas station on the way over here to play with the kids, and it was $2.82. Yesterday, it was $2.62. Texas Republican congressional candidate Valentia Gomez is going viral after releasing her new campaign ad of her lighting the Islamic Quran on fire, saying Islam must be stopped once and for all. I will end Islam in Texas, so help me God, Gomez said, running for Texas 31. Yeah, Mark Goodwin brings us up to some slow news day. I thought I had it up. Elon Musk says there will be beyond use. Let me try that again. Elon Musk says there will be beyond universal basic income, and Donald Trump says he wants the government to take control of more business. And we knew about that part. As Legendary Energy says, they're going to pull a COVID level U-turn on their base pretty soon. Here's Elon Musk. There will be universal high income, not merely basic income. Everyone will have the best medical care, food, home, transport, and everything else. Sustainable abundance. Remember, that's part of the Great Reset idea. During the campaign, you called during the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration never called for nationalizing a private company like you're proposing with Intel. Is this the new way of doing industrial policy? Trump, yeah, sure it is. I want to try to get it as much as I can. They've been talking about they're going to get more and more to this. Let's see, unlimited hangout right here. SDG 16 Part 2, enforcing the digital identity. The UN claims that the purpose of Sustainable Development Goal 16, SDG 16, if you're nasty, is to promote peaceful, inclusive societies and to provide access to justice for all. Hiding behind the rhetoric is the real objective to strengthen and consolidate the power and authority of the global governance regime and to exploit threats, both real and imagined, in order to advance regime hegemony. In Part 2, Ian and Whitney examined the centrality of digital ID, SDG 16.9, and this endeavor. Great read. Check it out. Again, when this happens, it's game over pretty much for us. Good luck. The lights are out. The eggs are getting cold, and the butter is jiggling, or the jello is jiggling. Here's Whitney again. Well, I can think of at least one person who would have loved this digital ID stablecoin policy from the Treasury Department. Jeffrey Thiel. Jeffrey Epstein. It says highlighted. Mr. Epstein also claimed to work for the U.S. Treasury Department on cryptocurrency and anti-hacking efforts, and told people he worked for sovereign wealth firms, funds, including some in the Middle East, helping them move money and find assets. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's like I said, it's not Black Pill Monday, it's Taco Tuesday, I guess. I don't know what it is. Don't check out that movie, The Agenda. Played it yesterday a little clip of it. 3 minutes was the one that we just played on here. I finished watching it. Really good information. Very, very good information. Again, look at yesterday's show in the show notes. Check down. I linked it. I think I linked the preview. It's on my. If you go to X on Steve Cunningham 1, you'll see the one that I played the 3 minutes long. That clip was great. Again, the other one, the movie is about an hour and 56 minutes, and it's solid. Very good. Check it out. Give it to your normie friends. Anyways, God love you. Have a great rest of the night. Check out again, senseofidelium.tv, where if you don't like Patreon, you can use that to be able to support Sense of Fidelium by spending $5 on Patreon. Here's $5 on there, and you get the app. How about that? Win-win. People want me to put stuff on Patreon. How about I just put stuff on an app? Anyways, have a great rest of the day. Talk to you later. I hear one of the kids squawking right now. Time to eat. Good night. Drive home safely.